I am a male Hannah. You can call me Emily. In this tutorial, I am going to show you how you prepare well for your interview. At the end of this tutorial, you may have questions or comments. You are welcome to email me to emily.hannah@outlook.com. To prepare for an interview, you need to listen to some useful tips in relation to how you can be well presented in the job interview. In the job interview, you will be asked some common questions, which you need to think about their answers before you enter the interview room. Some other questions are behavioral, and these questions are based on your unique experience and skills. Make yourself aware of what you should do and what you should not do in the job interview. If you will have an online video interview, I would recommend you to listen carefully to this section of the tutorial. Let us begin. To prepare for an interview, do not forget to read your CV carefully and refresh your memory on the details of current and past work experience. You should be able to make connections between how your skills set will meet with your potential employer. You will be able to make such connection if you conduct a good research about the company and its products and services, as well as their growth potential. Visit the place where you will be interviewed before the day of the interview to allow managing your time to get there on the interview day. This will allow you to plan and ensure to be there 15 minutes before the interview. Be prepared to answer difficult interview questions. Preparation is essential to go successfully through these questions. Make sure your cloth is clean and ironed, and you are well groomed as well. Wear colors that suit you, and choose comfortable fabrics. It is recommended that women avoid outfits that are too revealing. Women need to avoid heels that are too high. Avoid strong perfume or aftershave. Every interview is different, and you will meet different interviewers in your career life. Interviewers will ask you some questions. Many of these questions are common. You need to prepare yourself before you go to the interview to show confidence. These common job interview questions can be: what motivated you to apply for this position? To answer this question, you will need to focus on how your skills and experience meet with the duties of the role you are applying to. You need to show to your potential employer that you have researched the company thoroughly, and you have good reasons to work in this role. Some interviewers may ask the previous question in another way, such as, tell us why you think you are best person for this role. To answer this question, you need to show to your potential employer that you have unique skills and experience that are compelling reasons for which you think you are the best candidate for the role you apply to. A tricky common question, usually asked in job interviews, is, why do you want to leave your current position? Or, why did you leave your previous position? It is very important here, when you answer this question, is not to badmouth your current or previous employer, but rather emphasis on your career development. You need to be positive and explain that you want to maximize your career goals. A common job interview question is, what are your key strengths? Be objective. Your potential employer wants to know how your skills are useful for them. Therefore, you need to think about the types of skills your potential employer is looking for, as mentioned in the job description or job advertisement. Do not mention all your strengths, but rather, focus on certain strengths and demonstrate how they are useful for them, by recalling real examples from your past experience. Another common and tricky job interview question is, what are your main weaknesses? Do not forget to be positive, even when you mention a weakness. For example, You could mention an area that you were weaker at, and explain how you successfully improved this area, such as learning a new program. It is a good strategy to show your potential employer that you spend the effort to overcome any obstacle, and willing to improve. A common question, especially asked when you applied for a position in another city or another country is, are you willing to relocate for this role? Sometimes, if you are doing a phone interview or an online interview, or you are traveling to attend an interview in another city, the interviewer may ask you this question. It is important to think carefully, prior to the interview, if moving to this new place is the right move for you, personally and professionally. Your answer to the employer should be honest. A question such as, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Could be a tricky question. Your employer wants to see how far you are a goal-oriented candidate. They want to check whether your expectations of the role are realistic. Remember, in your answer, demonstrate your awareness of the industry trends and ability to be flexible to any changes. A question such as, what are your salary expectations? Is usually being asked in the end of job interview. You will need to do your research to find the latest salary trends in the market. Your employer needs to know directly if this salary will be sufficient for you. Many job interviews involve behavioral interview questions. You will need to be prepared for these questions. These questions could be how you were able to give someone constructive criticism? How were you able to cope with interpersonal conflict, especially when you were working on a team project? Have you ever faced a problem you could not solve? Can you remember when your creativity made a real difference in the success to a company you worked for? Have you ever managed multiple projects simultaneously? How did you manage milestones and deadlines? It is recommended that you use the STAR technique when you answer any behavioral interview questions. Each letter of the STAR reflects a stage in approaching your answer. It includes situation. Here you need to understand the scenario or the situation adequately. Task. Here you need to consider and talk about your specific responsibilities within the project you were working on. Then, action, in which you need to describe further the steps you took to deliver desired outcomes. Result. It is very important that you conclude your example with tangible outcomes of the strategies you used to solve the problem. After you prepare yourself of interview questions and their answers, it is time to prepare for the interview itself. There are a number of rules, what you should do, and what you should not do, in the job interview. It is recommended that you follow these tips if you have a job interview. When you go to the job interview, plan to arrive there 15 minutes early. Once you arrive there, you should greet the interviewer by their first name. And, when you are offered a chair, sit upright and maintain eye contact. Always keep smiling and give attention. Once interviewers begin to ask you, you need to respond concisely and appropriately. Remember, your answers should always show how you are the best person for the position. At the end of the interview, the interviewer may ask you if you have any questions. Here it is your opportunity to build a dialogue. Try to ask some thoughtful and nice questions, which will leave good impression about you in interviewer minds. Some of these questions can be, how would you describe the working culture here? Can you tell me more about the team I will be working with? Or, what are the next steps from here? As there are some tips about what you should do in an interview, there are some other tips about what you should not do in the job interview. When interviewers begin to ask you the interview question, You should not provide very short answers, or very long answers, to interview questions. In answering the interview questions, you should not give attention to one interviewer and leave the other interviewers without attention. When it comes to a question about why did you leave your previous job, you should not bad-mouthing your previous employer. At any stage of the job interview, do not show discouragement. Some interviewees tend to show discouragement, especially when the interview goes into bad direction. Remember, sometimes interviewers want to test your reaction, and how far you are interested in the position, so be patient and clever. At the end of the interview, interviewers may ask you if you have any questions. Here you should not ask about the salary, bonuses or holidays. Building a rapport with the interview panel is a good strategy that you can use to leave good impression about you in the interviewer minds. Here are some techniques you can use to achieve this goal. To make your good first impression at a job interview, choose carefully what to wear, greet your interviewer, mirror interviewer body language, and maintain eye contact. You should speak confidently when you tell your story and express your personal values. Expressing who you are will make your interviewer remember you. In answering each of the interview questions, do your best to reflect on how your skills and experience make you a perfect fit for the job. When you ask questions at the end of the interview, ask thoughtful and nice questions. Do not be shy about expressing how enthusiastic you are about the position. After 24 hours of the interview, send your interviewer a brief and polite email thanking them for their time and re-express your interests in the position. If they did not get back to you in a reasonable time, do not hesitate to follow up with them. Employers are more likely to be impressed by those who are eager to get the job. Regardless of the outcome of your interview, your response should always be polite. If you are not successful to get the job, express your interest in similar roles should become available in the future. Many interviews these days are conducted online, using video conference software, such as Skype, Video, or Adobe Connect. These are a number of tips you should follow to make sure that your interview goes well. So, be prepared. Dress professionally, and treat your video interview as a face-to-face interview. You need to set the scene by reviewing what is visible behind you on your webcam before the interview. During the interview, put your phone on silent to make sure you will not be interrupted. It is recommended that you keep your windows closed to reduce any outdoor noise. Test yourself before the webcam to make sure that the exposed light is good. Natural lighting can also be used. When you do your technical test on your hardware, ensure that the mic and speakers and the webcam are working fine. Test the internet speed to ensure that the video interview will run without connection problem. If your current technology is not going to support the video call, it is best to find another place that can provide you with the right equipment. Just as the face-to-face interview, it is important to smile, maintain eye contact, and show your engagement in the process. Before your online interview begins, make sure you turn off other applications such as Facebook, email, Twitter, etc., so that message alerts do not distract you away from the interview, or add extra load on the connection bandwidth. Be prepared that connection problem can occur, so be prepared to continue the interview using another medium, such as phone call. You can download the checklist of job interview preparation from www.skillsforlearners.net/career/checklist.doc. Thank you for watching this free online tutorial. I wish you find it useful for your preparation for your next job interview. If you have any questions or comments, please email me to emily.hanna@outlook.com.au. Good luck in your interview, and always keep smiling.